trending burning question powered by Reva University. Century Ply Laminates. Co-powered by Acco Insurance.
Welcome friends to this section of Trending Burning Question. As humanity faces its biggest test yet against barbaric terrorism of Hamas in Israel, and as the world stands one with the Jewish nation in its time of tragedy, we have had world leaders coming out in open support of Israel. But then we have one world leader, Justin Trudeau of Canada, who has been tweeting about his calls to nations and their leaders, and then slipping in that he has been talking to them about India. It's a farce, if not comedy. And then we had a Canadian journalist, Daniel Bordman, coming out yesterday and suggesting that he has been receiving calls. We'll try to find out from whom, suggesting that he should distance himself from India and Indians, given the kind of position he has taken in the last 1 month in the backdrop of India-Canada standoff over Khalistani separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar killing. Let's look at what Justin Trudeau has been up to, and then I come back with Daniel Bordman on the other side.
Not an iota of evidence, and this is how Trudeau put India-Canada relations at stake.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The world asked tough questions and Trudeau was left scratching head.
Prime Minister Modi confirm or deny these allegations when you talked to him about them?
As I said, I had a direct and frank conversation with the Prime Minister in which I shared my concerns in no uncertain terms.
All he could utter was credible evidence.
As I said on Monday, there are credible reasons to believe that agents of the government of India were involved in the killing of a Canadian on Canadian soil.
I mean, if I understand correctly, are you suggesting that the evidence was extensive? Is that what you're saying?
I'm repeating what I said on Monday afternoon, that there are credible allegations that we need to take extremely seriously.
Till today, the world is yet to see that credible evidence. And when a Canadian journalist questioned Trudeau, he was repeatedly told that he got the Nijjar case wrong. Canadian journalist Daniel Bordman was warned that it was not good for him as a Jew to have a pro-Modi stance. He was told that Modi and BJP are a very anti-Semitic. But Daniel stands proven right, with Modi government strongly condemning Hamas and expressing solidarity with Israel. And several weeks later, Trudeau is still empty-handed. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
All right, joining me live from Toronto is Daniel Bordman himself. Daniel, good to have you on our broadcast. We were going through the blog you wrote on the social media website X, and it got our attention. Now, let's go one by one. You begin by saying that you have been receiving calls of late, which sort of suggest that you should be careful about the position you are taking. Now, tell us to begin with, what is the tone and tonality of these calls? Are these suggestions or are they beyond that? Is there an element of intimidation in the calls that you have been receiving?
No intimidation. These are done as friendly, reaching out. Your best interest is at heart. I'm just trying to help you. Hey, as a Jew, did you know that the BJP has roots in the RSS, either Chandra Bose? Like, listen, I understand what Chandra Bose did, but I also understand that he didn't like make alliances with the Germans to like kill Jews. It was about British colonialism at the time. Like a bunch of different weird alliances happened during world wars that like outside the thing. So there's no like, you know, Nazi ideology as it's known in the German sense in the like, and I knew that. And I said, like, yeah, they'd send you pictures of people in India with swastikas. Like, I don't know the first thing about Hinduism, that's a Hindu symbol. Listen, I'm not an expert on it, but I know what the swastika means in India is not what it means in Germany. And you know, I spoke to the Indian community, you know, Hitler's Hakenkreuz versus the swastika. So I knew this, but I mean, maybe I thought this was less of a big deal than other people. When you start to get attention and when you start to have some sort of influence, especially in Canada, people are going to reach out to you and say all sorts of things, either try and ingratiate themselves to you to gain some of it, or to try and control you, or, you know, who knows where they're from this party, that party, whatever. My actual overlying point, though, was I said this because of the Israel-Palestine thing and the position Congress took pro-Palestine versus the BJP, which was very pro-Jewish community. So I said this more as like a caution also to like the Jewish community about the types of propaganda being used against Indians is the same used against us. That's kind of what brought me on to a lot of Indian politics in the first place, especially around Kashmir in 2019, I believe, when I just noticed that the organizations that are deeply anti-Semitic and support all types of terrorism, the stuff they started saying about Hindutva, Kashmir, Modi, it was all the same things they say about Israel and Jews. They didn't even change the script. They literally just took Jews out, Hindus in, Zionist out, Hindutva in, and it's the same propaganda rhetoric. And my point is more as a warning, I guess, to Jews and caution. The same ideologues who tried to undermine us are trying to undermine our relationship with what looks to be our strongest ally, the Hindu community in India, who's the morally clear-headed people I've seen, who you don't need to be convinced that the people cheering while they're killing babies are the bad guys. Like, sorry? Yes, so my point was sort of the end, I thought was the big focus was, you know, don't fall for this propagandistic narrative because it was used to undermine our community. And I don't want to see it happen to another community. And it's really insidious because it has this lie, or it's not even a lie, it's an anti-truth, that there's like this anti-Semitic element among the Indian right wing, when as someone who's spent time with them, at least anti-Semitic.
Daniel, you know, let's begin at the beginning. You seem to be suggesting that these people are not liking your position that you have taken post the Hardeep Singh Nijjar row between India and Canada. Are these the people who know you, or they have just come to know of you now that you have some celebrity, and because they are not liking that as a Canadian you are taking a position which is not very visibly pro-Canada, so they are sort of asking you to pull back? And in that case, who are these people? If you can just elaborate, just to give us an idea of who are these people, because, you know, we have, since the controversy broke out, we have tried to reach out to a lot of people in the Canadian establishment, in the agencies, in the government, to speak on behalf of Trudeau or in favor of Trudeau, and it has been very difficult to get people to speak in favor of Trudeau, at least insofar as the Khalistani row is concerned. So who are these people really who are sort of cautioning you to not take the position you are taking?
Like, I don't exactly, like, these are not close friends, let's say, that I know. A lot of them, you know, I kind of knew them. They had used pseudonyms online and, you know, claimed to be someone else's thing. So again, I didn't want to make this post public. I wanted to keep it, because it's better to know who's feeding you disinformation or bad intel, so you can just keep it, right? You don't want to burn this and then have someone new, right? So I assume these people will never reach out to me again, but someone else will try and I don't know, ask me. So I don't know what their motivations are. I don't know who they're connected to. All I know is they didn't know the first thing about the Khalistani issue. They didn't know anything about Hardeep Singh Nijjar's connections, his Khalistan Tiger Force, which has a lion as a symbol because Khalistan, his leadership there. They didn't like, again. So when I sussed out a lot of it, you know, I did it politely and just found some inconsistencies, which, listen, sometimes people reach out to you in this world and they try and slip you information. You have to be able to vet who's reliable, who's not reliable in a way. And, you know, I'm sort of like, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar on this. And, you know, if you kind of like let your guard down.
Are you at least getting a sense that these could be the same people? Are you getting a sense, Daniel, that in that case, that these are the same people, possibly the same set of people who have influenced the position of the Trudeau government when it comes to the Khalistani issue? And it's more ideological than factual. It's more akin to the emotional truth version of Hassan Minhaj, rather than based on hard facts about what Khalistan ideology really is?
Maybe. Again, I don't really know the motivations of these people. Some of them, it might have been like purely political. Some of it might have just been on their own volition. You know, some of them might have really believed it. I mean, there is ideological brainwashing among the, you know, Western left to be anti-India right now and to believe all the lies about, you know, what's going on there. And, you know, far-right Hindu nationalism, very scary. That plays really well to a lot of people. So maybe someone really had my best interest at heart, you know, got a hold of me and was trying to legitimately help me because they didn't understand the issue. But my thing was I was able to accurately assess that they didn't understand the issue. I mean, if someone called me with a comprehensive understanding of the Khalistani issue and said, listen, this is what Nijjar was up to, but we got to protect our sovereignty. Here's some stuff. Here's some actual evidence. You know, I'm sending you this file. Be careful. Like, here's some stuff that I can show you that
right.
Here's evidence that your position is wrong or something or whatever. And they had some deep knowledge and incisive commentary. I would have paid more attention to that, but none of them had
right.
Like they couldn't, I mean, not even deep knowledge. Like they couldn't get into the shallow end of the pool on this issue. So I kind of brushed it off and kept going. But the point was more after Congress made the statement in support, and like the people who, you know, have and it's also not, it's not just people calling me. I've seen this narrative out there in the ether about, you know, what's going on in India right now. So I kind of felt it's important where, you know, people are trying to sell to the Jewish community that, oh no, Congress is the one that would be on your side, and the BJP, they're very anti-Semitic. I felt it was necessary at this time to say, you know, here's my experience with this, here's what it is, and here's why this is disinformation. And I just thought it was the right time to make that point from like a personal perspective of like, you know, I get it more because again, I'm running around Indian media all day. So people are trying to call me, and, you know, could it have been an intelligence spook from CSIS trying to, you know, undermine me? Maybe. I have no idea. Was it someone in the Liberal Party or someone NDP? Maybe. Or was it just a guy who legitimately wanted to reach out and help me, but got it all wrong? I don't know. But I do know that this narrative that is out there, you know, that was the narrative they used to undermine the Jewish community with the anti-Zionist movement. The anti-Zionist movement has now been, you know, rejigged a little bit to be an anti-India movement. And my big point, and what I wanted to really do is try and, you know, quash that before it grows, because it's a really dangerous ideology.
Daniel,
and I've seen firsthand how it affects Jews, and how it gets us harassed and attacked at universities, and I don't want to see another community go through that. So it was more of a, all right, I'll say something here.
Daniel, you know, with the kind of reactions that have come in from India, led by Prime Minister Modi and the rest of the nation, I think all that propaganda and narrative should stand demolished about where India stands vis-a-vis Israel and the Jews and the Jewish nation. But let's move on. You know, we have had those tweets coming in from Justin Trudeau, where he has been calling up world leaders, and while talking about the dastardly terror attack by Hamas on Israel, he has been slipping in that one line that he spoke to these world leaders about India and the international rule of law. I mean, really, are we any closer? It's been about a month since he went public with his standoff and the position that he took against India. Are we any closer? You are there you are there in Toronto, near Ottawa. Are we any closer to any evidence any shred of evidence connecting Hardeep Singh Nijjar with India on the ground there?
No, not really. Listen, I'm not part of CSIS. I'm not in the intelligence briefings. If they have this top secret piece of intelligence they haven't released, then they still have it. But again, Trudeau's running around being a terrible foreign policy diplomat. You should not be dragging the UAE and Jordan and other countries who just don't care about this issue into this issue. This is bad. Like, now you're ruining a relationship with those countries, because then they're like, okay, we don't want to talk to Canada, because if we talk to Canada, they're just going to start saying something about our other allies and drag us into the middle of this nonsense. So bad policy move on that front. And as I said, like Justin Trudeau, I said he made the right move when he said, let's make this private. We don't want to talk in public. Let's just privately solve this. And it lasted a few days until let's talk privately turned into let's take random jabs at India and drag other countries into it. So
he should have stopped those protests from happening in Toronto in support of Hamas.
Yeah, I mean, there's all over the West. There's rallies in support of Hamas. They are celebrations of murder, rape, and torture. Right? Even before the Israelis responded, the Palestinian supporters were on the streets of the West celebrating the images you saw.
Right.
And some people were horrified when they saw the images. Some people were shocked and saddened when they heard that 40 babies were decapitated, Jewish babies, and they found them today. And some people are overjoyed, filled with bloodlust, and want to celebrate. And we're starting to see the face of what these people are like. And even Justin Trudeau was forced to condemn it. And Justin Trudeau is a man who vociferously defended returning ISIS fighters coming to Canada, calling them a powerful voice for de-radicalization. Hamas went so far, and their supporters are so morally deranged that even Justin Trudeau, who has never met a terrorist organization he hasn't wanted to throw at least $10 million at, is forced to come on TV and say this is bad.
But the same Justin Trudeau, Daniel, you know, the same Justin Trudeau who made his government crack down, or made his police crack down on those truckers protesting, remained a mute spectator when these supporters of Hamas were out there in the streets in Toronto and Vancouver and Ottawa and wherever. But unfortunately, that's how Justin Trudeau is. Trudeau being Trudeau. Thank you so much, Daniel, on that note. Thank you very much. We come to an end of this conversation. Short break on the other side. Arnab Goswami is back with the debate.